Alexa, turn on all the lights.
Okay.
My morning routine is all about productivity. I've got a lot to do before I drop my son off each morning, and the only way I'm getting it done is if I'm willing to get started early. So the one thing I've learned is that my daily routine has to start off the night before. It's just way more chill, it's way more calm. The night before, there's just me, it's quiet, I can focus on what I need to do. I can grab a glass of wine, wash some dishes, clean up, anything that I can do the night before that's gonna make tomorrow morning easier is what I'm gonna try to do. I'm gonna spend a bunch of time in the kitchen in the morning. So even though I'm tired, it doesn't make sense for me not to tidy up before I go to sleep. That way in the morning, that's one less thing I have to do. There is nothing worse than waking up in the morning and then having to wash dishes before I can start cooking. So the night before, I definitely like to sit down and write down any tasks that are out of the ordinary, any events that are happening special tomorrow. You have that routine. It's very easy to forget when there's new things and variables that have come up. So if I have everything written down, I can prioritize in the morning just in case I forget. Laying out clothes, cleaning out the lunchbox, grabbing those first couple of ingredients, and just checking homework. Anything that I know I'm gonna have to do tomorrow, if I can take care of it the night before, that's one less thing to do tomorrow. There's always little things that come up. So if I can eliminate as many variables as possible going into the next day, that's the goal. One of the things I've noticed is that the more time we have in the morning, the less efficient we end up being. So the initial idea of waking up at 4 a.m. to compensate made perfect sense, but then you realize it can be dangerous to think, oh, I'm waking up early, so now I have a bunch of time. No, you have about as much time as you need to complete what you need to get done. Now, my second pillar to my morning routine is going to bed early. Now, I know that sounds like that conflicts with the first one. However, what I mean by that is I don't stay up all night watching a bunch of Netflix or gaming or doing anything that really doesn't affect tomorrow. Fortunately with my schedule, I have a lot of flexibility throughout the day, so it's not like I don't have me time. It's just that most of the things I would want to do, I can do after I drop him off at school. So there's no real reason for me to stay up late at night doing things unless it's super duper important. For the most part, that just doesn't happen too often. The main thing is getting whatever little tasks I can get done the night before and then getting to bed as quickly as possible, waking up well rested. So if I do have a big morning, I have the energy to do it. My workout schedule changes. Some days I go for a jog, others I hit the gym, and if I'm super busy, I just go after school drop off. The key to my routine is being flexible. Children are people, so mistakes will happen and things are always subject to change, so I can't be super rigid with my rules. It's more of an outline. He might wake up in a not so great mood or not feel well, and I have to spend a few minutes giving him a pep talk. The main thing is that it's accounted for in my routine. That's why I wake up so early. If I miss a day at the gym, so be it, but I don't beat myself up about it. Maintaining the general structure is far more important than the consistency of each individual task every day. Having a rigid schedule may be fine for an individual, but it's probably not what's best for a team. All right, fantastic workout. Now it's time to work on lunch. Typically for breakfast, all I have is a bottle of water, and then after my workout, I'll come back and have an avocado shake. Work will provide most of my meals, so if I'm working, I can eat later on. But if I am feeling hungry, avocado shake will be just fine. So pretty good. Avocado, banana, chia, sesame seeds, all types of good stuff is in here. It's quick. It doesn't prevent me from taking care of my other duties. I can just throw everything in the blender while I'm cooking breakfast. He's been complaining about the amount of pancakes I've been making, so I've tried to cut it back, and today I'm just gonna go ahead and make him oatmeal, though I would prefer to make him a full 3-course breakfast. If a smaller breakfast means he'll actually eat it so we can move on to the next task instead of me sitting there watching him eat for an hour, maybe we'll switch it up every once in a while. But for lunch, we're gonna be making my world famous dadables. Obviously, I could go buy a Lunchable. He used to ask me for those when he was younger, and I'm like, I can do better. I can use higher quality meat and cheese, better crackers, and make the same thing. And I can have a little bit of fun with it. So, again, one of the things that I lost in my big move was all of my cookie cutters, but I do have some of them. I have some dinosaurs, I have a key, and a gingerbread man. It's all I need in order to make dadables. That's fine. I am a little bit sad though, because I used to have like a little heart that I would use to cut out all the cheese with, but this will be fine. Anybody can have a Lunchable, but not everybody can have a dadable. I know one day he'll be super embarrassed to show up to school with one of these things, but for now, he still loves them. All right, so our next pillar is probably the most important one, which is giving autonomy. The goal of all of this is to one day have him be independent, where I don't have to sit and watch him eat breakfast or help him with his maybe not help him with his homework, packing his lunch, make sure he's washing his face, all that kind of stuff. I don't want to do that forever. This is all just temporary. So giving him autonomy is just giving him the opportunity to learn how to do these things and eventually take on these responsibilities for himself. You know, earlier on, I felt like I was coddling him a bit, so... You all right? Jesus Christ. He knows when his alarm goes off, he needs to wake up and brush his teeth. If he thinks it's too early, he'll come in the room, check with me to make sure it's not like 3 a.m. I'm human. There's a possibility that one day I might oversleep, and, you know, he knows how to tell time. He can look at the clock, figure out if he's running late, know what he needs to do in order to get himself to school, and he can start moving before I even wake up. He's been pretty good about cleaning out his lunchbox, taking his ice pack and putting it in the freezer, and leaving out his homework. Pretty much anything I've asked him to do so far. But these are just small responsibilities that will ultimately get him to the point where he can do everything by himself. He won't get there unless I allow him to grow into that role. All right, so my next pillar is making my child the priority. I'm not waking up trying to get dressed, take a shower, do all that. Like, I wake up and I do my gym thing, but after that, I'll just be sweaty and gross until after I drop him off at school. The primary thing is getting him up and ready, off to school, and then my schedule is pretty flexible, so I can come home and get myself together after that. In the event I ever need to leave for work early, I pass on the gym and just focus on whatever I need to do to get myself ready for work. Once he's up at 6 o'clock, he has to be the focus because he only has an hour to get a bunch of things done. Another fantastically productive morning, and I owe it all to having fun. I used to be pretty uptight about mornings, wake up, follow the schedule, you know what time you need to be up, really being on my son about efficiency and time management and some stuff that is probably less enjoyable for a child. At a certain point, I started to consider, how I was raised, how I want to raise my son, and the impact of what putting him through that in the morning has on him. And I decided to switch it up and began incorporating the 6 a.m. dance party. And ever since then, things have changed. I get a speaker, some RGB lights, and, I crank his favorite song and we just have a moment. Like every morning, that's how he wakes up. Sometimes he puts in a special request. It's always a good time and it just puts him in a great mood. He's already about to go to a place that he probably doesn't want to be for 8 hours. And this is the last bit of freedom he's going to have before he enters that building. So if I can send him to school in great spirits with a smile on his face, hopefully that'll carry him through the rest of the day. So I really try to put any of my frustration aside, focus on, making it about him. And the main thing about 4 a.m. is it gives me a moment to decompress. I'm not waking up and just rushing right into all these things I have to do. I get the lights, I turn on the music, and I get lost in it too. Those last few minutes when we're at the house laughing, joking, they put me in a pretty great mood. And I think when it comes to productivity with children, attitude is a huge part of it. You know, the happier he is, the more he wants to do, the happier I am.